Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Confessional Easter Eggs, where we're going to be diving into The Evil Dead Rise. We would have had this out a little bit earlier, but Jen's been a little bit under the weather, so bear with us as we go along with this video. Now, we want to say thank you for watching our other Evil Dead content, because we've dropped out rankings, reviews, copycat films, and films that are like Evil Dead, where we're slaying demons. So, if this is the first time that you're here, check out our other Easter egg videos and other content, especially if you like Terrify and Scream. There's lots of those videos that are out there that you are going to enjoy. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
For this list, we will not reference the POV camera angle for the evil. That is not a nod, but a part of the film and their MO. Now that we have that ruled out, let's start with character names, which we count separate. Beth for M. Beth Davitz, Sheila in Army of Darkness. Ellie, Ellen Sandweiss, Cheryl in The Evil Dead and Ash vs. Evil Dead. Danny Hicks, Jake in Evil Dead 2. Bridget and Mr. Fonda, combined for Bridget Fonda, Linda in Army of Darkness. Cassie Wesley, Bobby Joe in Evil Dead 2.
In the opening scene, after Teresa leaves Jessica's boyfriend at the lake, she walks into an A-frame cabin, which we saw a yellow version of it in Midsommar. When she goes inside, we focus on a clock ticking away. This is the same clock we saw hanging on the wall in the cabin of Evil Dead 2. Shortly after, when Teresa is talking with Jessica in a callback scene to the original Evil Dead franchise, Jessica is possessed and begins reciting passages from the book Wuthering Heights as Teresa reads it.
Let me in. Let me in.
Similar to Cheryl when she begins reading the playing cards in the first film without seeing them.
Queen of Spades. 4 of Hearts. 8 of Spades. 2 of Spades. Jack of Diamonds. Jack of Clubs.
Fast forward ahead, we meet Beth, who is in the bathroom taking a pregnancy test. On the wall in front of her is a face with green ooze coming from its eyes. Sebastian Jamisi identified this as being a reference to Ed being hacked up in Evil Dead 2, where he bleeds green. I think it's safe to say that we can add this to our list. We then shift to LA, where we meet Ellie and her family. Danny is spinning some records in his room, and behind him is a poster of the Three Stooges, with Larry and Shemp being the only two visible. This is a reference to the term fake Shemp, which means someone who appears in a film as a replacement for another actor or person. Sam Raimi is a big Stooges fan and coined the term fake Shemp in The Evil Dead after most of his crew and cast abandoned the project after major delays. He was forced to use himself and his friends Bruce Campbell, Rob Tabbert, Josh Becker, and assistant David Goodman, and of course brother Ted Raimi as the fake Shemps. In both Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, and Army of Darkness, they both cited fake Shemps in their credits, as a number of Sam Raimi's other films have done.
While Ellie is looking for the scissors that Cassie took to behead her doll, she steps in front of a mirror which has the Home Sweet Home written across it in a tattoo-style font. This is a nod to Evil Dead 2, where in the cabin, a stitched picture saying Home Sweet Home was hanging on the wall. The doorbell rings and we meet Jake from down the hall, not from State Farm, who invites Bridget to watch all the A Nightmare on Elm Street movies, our first nod to that franchise. After Bridget turns him down, she turns to see Cassie is waiting for her wearing mop hair and holding her homemade spear, Staphany, which she jabs into Bridget's stomach. Her spear resembles the Kandarian dagger. We can't count our next one because it comes down to that old meme, what color is the dress, white and gold or blue and black? Beth soon arrives at their apartment and she's wearing a long blue shirt. Like Ash, who wore blue shirts in the movies, or is it purple, or is it burgundy? We will leave it to you to decide.
Yeah, I think it's blue.
And I think it's purple. A very dark purple.
And some other websites think it's burgundy.
It's definitely not burgundy.
No.
They even showed it side by side as a comparison, and it doesn't look at all the same.
It's blue.
It's dark purple. When Beth reveals a present for the kid's father, Ellie sends the kids to go get pizza so that they can talk about her marital situation. The kids are in the parking lot number 5, and as we know, Evil Dead Rise is the 5th entry into the franchise. Now, I couldn't find this one, but several people identified this. My only thinking is that later we see Teresa exit a door on the 5th floor, and the next scene is the parking garage.
As the kids are walking back in the parking lot, an earthquake causes Bridget to drop the pizza. As they run for cover, we see Fonda's tree surgery truck, which is another nod to Bridget Fonda, who played Linda in Army of Darkness. After things have settled, they go to pick up the pizza, and we see the name of the pizza place and the image on the box are clever Easter eggs to Evil Dead 2. The pizza place is Henrietta's, accompanied by the image of an older woman who resembles Henrietta Knowby, who is the human-turned-deadite wife of Professor Knowby in Evil Dead 2. The tagline for Henrietta's "Come Get Some" is the line we hear Ash say in S-Mart at the end of Army of Darkness. We fast forward ahead where we see Beth preparing a bath for Cassie, who is afraid of water because she once was stung by a jellyfish. Here we have our second nod to Nightmare on Elm Street, where then we see Beth slip her fingers into the water in a similar shot to the iconic bathtub scene where Freddy's claw rises up from the water while Nancy is in the tub.
Beth then pretends that something is pulling her into the water. Just like Laurie Strode did in Rob Zombie's Halloween, when she's trying to help Tommy Doyle overcome his fears of the boogeyman's house.
Oh no, it's pulling me. Oh no, Tommy, it's pulling me in. Ha ha ha.
I don't think that's the way you help a kid overcome their fears.
No.
We have kids. That's not the way I would have done it.
Even what Beth did too was a little like, I don't think you should have did that.
No, not at all. The kid is terrified of jellyfish, which of course are not in bathtubs, but she's little. And then you go and pretend like you're Freddy Krueger or some shit and you're getting pulled into the water. Like, sorry, this is bad parenting.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're not parents, so. Babysitter and aunt.
Bad babysitter, bad aunt. Just saying. In Evil Dead 2, the Deadites were unleashed after Ash played a recording made by Professor Knowby reciting an incantation. In Evil Dead Rise, they are released when Danny plays the same incantation, only recited by priests on a vinyl record player. Did you catch Bruce Campbell in the film? Bruce lends his vocals to the film and plays one of the priests that you hear on the record yell,
I wonder if the director gave out the $50 for the person who discovered Bruce Campbell being in the film first. I know I was one of the people that commented, it's like, is he on the record? But I never got anything back.
Thanks to Danny, the spirits have been set free and attack Ellie in the elevator. Her attack comes in a similar fashion, only instead of the vines from the trees that attack Cheryl in the original Evil Dead and Mia in the reboot in 2013, she's attacked with the elevator's cable wires. Ellie returns to the apartment where she fully transitions into a Deadite and dies. Beth and Danny carry her out of the apartment to get help and discover that the elevator is gone. When they try to go down the stairs, they're also gone. Just like the bridge in Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
They return to the apartment where Ellie finally comes back to life. Afterwards, they place her into a bathtub where a scared Danny calls out to her. Deadite Ellie says,
Mommy's with the maggots now.
And then later we see Bridget vomit maggots. This is a callback to the original Evil Dead movie ending where at the end, Ash burns the Necronomicon and the Deadites begin rapidly decaying and maggots crawl out of their decomposing bodies. Gabriel interrupts a great game of Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, causing Deadite Ellie to attack him and the others that are in the hall. She chews his eyeball out of his face, spits it out, and it flies directly down the throat of Jake, who chokes on it. Another reference to Evil Dead 2, when the eye popped out of the Deadite's head and flew across the room into Bobby Joe's mouth. Beth quickly shuts Ellie out of the apartment and rests her head on the door as the camera angle pans up at her, just like in The Shining when the camera pans up at Jack Torrance. She then chains and padlocks the door, similar to how they chained and padlocked Cheryl in the cellar of Evil Dead. Who just has chains and padlocks next to the door? I guess because it's LA, it makes sense.
I guess so.
After Deadite Ellie slits Gabriel's throat in front of the peephole, we see Mr. Fonda shoot with a double-barreled shotgun, one of Ash's go-to weapons.
When Cassie goes to look at Ellie through the peephole of the door, we see her sitting on the floor with her back to the door, twiddling her hair in her hand, just like Linda was doing in Evil Dead when Ash discovers her being possessed. Beth walks into the kitchen to check on Bridget, who is sitting perched on the counter eating glass. Yum. Bridget slowly turns to reveal her yellow eyes and that she's eating glass, which causes Beth to step back onto a frying pan and fall backwards onto the floor, just like Eric did in the 2013 reboot when he walks into the bathroom and discovers a yellow-eyed Olivia carving her own face. After Cassie stabs Bridget through the mouth with Stephanie, Ellie hears the cat in the vents and turns to look over her left shoulder, mimicking the profile shot from the Evil Dead 2 poster of the skull. A revived Bridget attacks Danny. Deadite Ellie has found her way back into the apartment and she attacks Beth. It's here that we hear Ellie say,
I will swallow your soul.
a line said by Deadites to Ash in Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. Beth and Cassie soon escape from the apartment and run down the building hallway where a Deadite Danny emerges after Beth shoots Ellie. You will notice his eyes are white, just like the original Deadites in the first two films.
The Deadites in the hall begin to taunt them by yelling, "Dead by Dawn!" which is a reference to the full title of Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. As Beth and Cassie descend in the elevator, it begins to fill up with blood that eventually crashes out in a massive wave once the elevator doors open. In The Shining, Danny Torrance saw visions of gallons of blood bursting from an elevator in the Overlook Hotel. Another film calling back to The Shining, just like one of our Easter egg videos did with Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Deadite Ellie has merged with her Deadite children to become the Marauder, which manages to capture Cassie, but Beth rises to the rescue with Mr. Fonda's double-barreled shotgun and says,
"Come get some."
While we don't see Sam Raimi's Oldsmobile Delta 88 in the film, director Lee Cronin, via a bloody disgusting interview, revealed that Beth's yellow chainsaw was designed to match the exact color of the car.
Seems a little odd that his car wouldn't be in it, considering there was a car in the movie.
Yeah, that's a really deep dive in Easter eggs and references when it's not in the movie, but the color of the car is the color of the chainsaw. But okay.
Yeah, I feel like you just could have just put the car in there. It probably would have been easier. But okay.
Yeah.
Instead of having like a specifically made chainsaw, like that color, to match the color from a 1988, like, I don't know. It just seems like a lot more work than it's worth. Could have just had the car. But okay, whatever.
You know, in fact,
It's not my movie.
I don't think it's an 88 either, because the movie came out in 81. So I'm gonna lift 88 is
No,
a model number.
it's a model. It's the Oldsmobile Delta 88. Yeah, that it is a model.
I don't know anything about cars, folks.
My dad's a mechanic.
Don't kill me. The fight shifts to the wood chipper where Beth disposes of the Marauder into it, which has been acknowledged as a callback to the 1996 movie Fargo, which notably featured a scene in which the criminal disposes of the body in a blood-spraying wood chipper. Now, did anyone catch the side shot of Beth and the chainsaw? Does it look familiar? Well, we saw this in the Evil Dead 2013 film when Mia is fighting against Abomination, and she drives the chainsaw right into its face.
The Marauder's blood rains down all over the parking garage, just like in that fight. Finally, a clever nod to a Sam Raimi inside joke is the frequent sound of a fly buzzing. Raimi included this in all of his Evil Dead movies, with Cronin continuing the trend throughout the film and in the Evil Dead Rises credits.
No, we talked about this in the rankings and how much the first Evil Dead screwed me up as a kid. And,
So that's what's still wrong with you?
Could be. But I've been hearing buzzing. I told you earlier today. I've just been hearing a lot of buzzing.
That's because you're fighting bees in the backyard.
Well, it could be that or it could be this movie.
No, it could be the fact that he's fighting all the bees in the backyard.
Yes, and I'm winning. Anyway.
But he claims that they're invading his space. The backyard belongs to them.
It's my space.
Okay.
Anyway, has anyone seen anything that we missed? Please drop that in the comments. You were gracious enough to drop a lot of things that we missed in the Scream video, so I think I'm going to do a Scream 2.0 update to that video because we're now over 200 Easter eggs with the help of everybody that has given us Easter eggs for that film. So, as you know, you find something, we do a video on it, you get the credit for it. So thank you very much for everybody that has helped us put together this video with the things that they found.
I was just gonna say, I feel like people probably could find more because this list feels a little light compared to most of our Easter egg videos.
No, this is about right because Behind the Mask, the Rise of Leslie Vernon was in the 40 range. I think Poltergeist was in the 40 range. So yeah, Scream 5 was in the 70s, and that kind of gone up.
The Scream movies are just insane with Easter eggs. I think they went a little over the top. We did discuss that. So
yeah, and in a video that is coming up where we talk about Easter eggs on the Pop 5, the Radio Silence crew has a tendency to go overboard with Easter eggs because they did it in Ready or Not. So be ready to check that out when that drops in a couple of weeks on the Pop 5. So not a deep dive like we do into every other one, just 5 Easter eggs that would have reshaped the entire movie if you understood what it meant when it was dropped on you in the beginning of the movie.
May have ruined the movie too, so.
Oh yeah, especially The Thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we want to say thank you for watching this episode, but there's a couple things that you need to do, and that is...
like, comment, subscribe, share.
Yes, please do. And as you watch, you have a chance to win things. Every video that hits 25, 50, 75, and 100 likes and comments, we'll give a prize. When we choose you and respond to a comment, please come and claim your prize. We just want to send it out to you. And then at 3,000, 4,000,
which we're almost at, right? 3,000?
and 5,000 subscribers, we'll give away some things. So let's hit 3,000 subscribers for this video.
We are almost there.
Yes, and then we'll send out a horror gift package to that winner. And claim it.
Yes, claim it. We have winners that are floating around out there. Go check our site. Go check the page and look to see, because I put some names out there.
Anyway, until the next Easter egg video or the next horror movie that deserves one, see ya.